You are listening to PastThink.com audiobook. Please like and subscribe, thank you. Chapter 6. Dong Zhuo destroys the capital and moves the court to Chang'an, but Sun Jian, hiding the imperial seal, betrays the leaders opposed to Dong Zhuo. Zhang Fei's headlong charge brings him swiftly to the pass, but he is halted by a barrage of missiles hurled at him, and is unable to reach Dong Zhuo. However, the battle has been won anyway, and the lords congratulate Zhang Fei on his role in their success. That night Sun Jian comes to see Yuan Shu. You know I've no personal feelings against Dong Zhuo, but I've given my all in this great struggle, because the country needs to be freed. He's a tyrant, he says. But you've listened to someone who slandered me, and that's why you failed to deliver the grain I needed. And that led to my defeat. Why? Tell me why. Yuan Shu, of course, has no answer. His only option is to have the slanderer killed. Later that same night Sun Jian has a visitor. It is a supporter of Dong Zhuo named Li Ju, sent by Dong to try to persuade Sun Jian to desert and come and join him. Li Ju says, Dong Zhuo greatly admires you. He wants to offer his daughter to you as a bride for your son. How dare he, exclaims Sun Jian, in a fury of indignation. He no longer follows the way of heaven, and he's conniving to take the throne. I will destroy his lineage to the 9th generation. Li Ju sees that his plan is bound to fail, and he escapes and returns to Dong Zhuo with the bad news. The disaster at the pass coupled with Sun Jian's rejection so infuriates Dong Zhuo that it sends him spiraling into depression. His advisor Li Ru comes up with an outrageous plan. He bases it on a children's ditty that is being sung at the time. The ditty goes like this. There first was a Han in the west. Then a Han over there in the east. If the deer flees to Chang'an, he'll find he's able to breathe without distress. Li Ru interprets this as follows. The Han in the west was the original dynasty founded by the supreme ancestor, where 12 emperors reigned in Chang'an. The Han in the east refers to the 12 emperors who came after Guangwu, the emperor who moved the capital to Luoyang. Now the cycle of heaven has come full circle, and the court should return to Chang'an, and then there will be nothing to fear. And so Dong Zhuo decides to move the capital to Chang'an. Summoning all the officials, he announces that after 2 centuries of rule in Luoyang the imperial family have been drained of inspiration and drive, but by moving them to Chang'an this can be revived. Some oppose him, including 2 officers who try to stop him as he leaves the city gate. For their temerity in opposing him he has them beheaded there and then. Li Ru is aware of how much money will be needed to rebuild the virtually deserted Chang'an, left desolate after a rebellion 200 years ago. Li Ru therefore proposes the following. Anyone in Luoyang we can associate with the rebel Yuan Shu will be rich, so let's kill them and take their goods. As a direct consequence of this evil plan, 5,000 troops are sent into the city. They murder thousands, not only the leading nobles and wealthy merchants, but also their entire families. Millions of the city's citizens are then driven out on the long march towards Chang'an. But many of them die en route, while the soldiers rape and pillage at will until the cries of the oppressed touch both heaven and earth. Finally, as Dong Zhuo is about to leave he commands that the whole city, including the ancestral shrines and palaces, should be burned to the ground. The imperial tombs are smashed open on his command, and the treasures of the emperors and empresses are scattered, while the soldiers break into the tombs of the nobility and the rich. At last Xuanda, his brothers-in-arms, and their men break through the pass, and Sun Jian gallops towards Luoyang. Yet for hundreds of miles nothing but desecration meets their gaze. Not a bird or animal can be seen or heard, nor any human being. Cao Cao is all for chasing after the retreating forces, but Yuan Shu disagrees, and so Cao Cao takes 10,000 men of his own, and sets off in hot pursuit. By now Dong Zhuo has reached Xingyang, midway to Chang'an. Li Ru, aware of the risk of attack, plans an ambush for any pursuing troops. When Cao Cao and his men sweep in for the attack, they fall into the trap. Cao Cao is heavily outnumbered. He has no option but to wheel his horse and flee. An arrow pierces his shoulder. Then his horse is killed beneath him. As the triumphant enemy troops are closing in, his friend Chao Hong comes to his rescue. He hands Cao Cao his horse, saying, "The world can do without me, but not without you." They set off, Cao Cao riding and Chao Hong walking. Chao Hong toils behind the horse for many miles, pursued relentlessly by the enemy. They manage to escape by the skin of their teeth, even when Chao Hong has to carry the wounded Cao Cao on his back across a river with arrows raining down. Soon other survivors of the defeated army arrive, while elsewhere Dong Zhuo continues safely on his way to Chang'an. Arriving in the midst the devastated city of Luoyang, Sun Jian orders the fires extinguished, the palaces cleared, the imperial tombs sealed and offerings made to the ancestors. When the ritual is over, Sun Jian stands and looks up to the night sky. Even as he watches, he sees a pale mist shroud the stars of one of the constellations. The imperial star is no longer bright, he sighs and, mourning the destruction of the dynasty and the capital city, he falls to his knees and weeps. As he sits wrapped in melancholy, a soldier points out 5 strange lights emanating from a well. When Sun Jian orders the well to be explored, they find the body of a woman, still intact. Around her courtly neck hangs an embroidered pouch. Inside the pouch is a beautiful box some 4 inches across, with a golden clasp. Inside this box is a jade seal, its top carved with 5 dragons wrapped around each other. One of the corners has been broken and repaired with gold and antiquity, while at its base are carved 8 characters in the ancient seal script which read, "Receive the mandate of heaven, now you will have long life and eternal prosperity." When Sun Jian shows the treasure to his advisor Qingpu, he instantly knows what it is. "This is the seal of the emperors," he says and relates its long history. Once there was a phoenix spotted sitting on a stone on the Jian mountain. This apparition caused the stone to be noticed and removed. When it was cut open in front of King Wen of Chu, for its heart was found to be jade. Hundreds of years later, in the 26th year of the reign of the first emperor, the very year he unified all China, the first emperor ordered the jade to be cut. His prime minister, Li Si, composed the 8 characters for it. Just 2 years later, during a terrible storm on Lake Dongting, the emperor hurled the jade overboard to pacify the waves. Then, 8 years later, when the emperor was on a long journey, an old man stepped forward. He presented the jade to the emperor, then he disappeared. After the first emperor died, the seal was taken by the founder of the Han dynasty. 200 years later, during the Wang Mang rebellion, the queen mother of the overthrown emperor used the seal to hit 2 of the rebels over the head. She chipped the corner, which later was repaired with gold. The emperor who restored the Han after the rebellion found the seal, and ever since that time it has passed from emperor to emperor. When the troubles with the 10 eunuchs broke out, it was lost. Now you've found it, which must mean you're destined to rule. But don't stay here in the north, you must head southeast to our homeland and begin your kingly preparations. Sun Jian is more than happy to agree. He says that the next day he will plead sickness, and then he will steal away. However, word gets out. Yuan Shao hears about the seal, and when Sun Jian comes to see him, saying that due to ill health he will go home to Changsha, Yuan Shao says he knows what the ailment is, a bad case of imperial seal. Despite Yuan Shao's best efforts, he cannot persuade Sun Jian to even admit he has found the seal. Deeply offended and frightened, Sun Jian does not hesitate, but rides off, taking his entire army with him. Yuan Shao's desire for the seal causes the alliance to start to fall apart. Cao Cao departs as well, taking his troops to Yangzhou. Gong Sunzan, along with the 3 brothers-in-arms, is also left feeling Yuan Shao has no prospects. Passing through the town of Pingyuan, he asks Xuanda to remain there and defend it. Sun Jian is heading south when he passes through a district where the governor is Liu Biao, a member of a well-known group of intellectuals called the 8 Gentlemen of Jiangxia. Having received a letter from Yuan Shao, ordering him to take an army to stop Sun Jian, Liu Biao appoints 2 of his top commanders, Kuai Yu and Kai Mao, to lead it. "Why is the road blocked?" demands Sun Jian when the 2 armies meet. And why are you escaping with the Imperial Jade Seal? Commander Kuai Yu demands in return. To settle the matter, each army selects a champion to fight on its behalf. Sun Jian chooses Huang Gai, while Liu Biao chooses Kai Mao. After a few brief bouts, Huang Gai lashes Kai Mao with a whip on his chest. Kai Mao panics and flees, which encourages Sun Jian's men to surge forward. The soldiers have not gone far when the beat of war drums resounds throughout the valley. From behind a hill, Liu Biao himself emerges at the head of his troops. "Why are you blocking my way?" asks Sun Jian once again. "And why are you escaping with the Imperial Seal?" comes the response once again. Sun Jian claims, "I do not have it." "Well then, you won't mind if I search your bags, will you?" retorts Liu Biao. Sun Jian challenges Liu Biao to a fight, but Liu Biao retreats, drawing Sun's troops into a trap. Kuai Yu and Kai Mao, the two commanders, close in from behind, and Sun Jian is trapped. Does Sun Jian escape? We will find out.